The image of the desert looms very large in the Lenten season. Lent began with Jesus in the desert being tempted. The first reading we heard, the Israelites are in the desert with Moses, and as awful as slavery was, all the rhythms and routines of their life was disrupted. Though they hated to be slaves, they had water and bread. They could maintain their lifestyles. And there they were in the desert beginning to grumble and complain, wondering, where is this leading? What is happening to us? I woke up this morning, just the reality of all these changes just hit me like a truck. I was really wondering, what are we doing? Could there be another way? And I know that this is a time of enormous anxiety for all of us, particularly anxious about the unknown. How long will we have to be without attending Mass? You know, last year I had the great blessing of going to Ireland with my family, my complete family, brothers, sister-in-laws, nieces, and nephews, and it was a wonderful time. We visited the birthplaces of my grandparents. One of the special blessings I had on that trip was to offer Mass on a Mass rock. It's in the 17th century, when Ireland was occupied by Britain and Oliver Cromwell came, he forbade the public worship of Catholics. All the churches' doors were locked, priests were arrested. Any public worship could result in imprisonment. And so people went out into the fields and out into the farmland and the remote areas, and they turned these large rocks into altars. And the priest would come and say Mass on the Mass rock. And I had the privilege of saying Mass on one of the oldest Mass rocks in Dingle. And at the base of this rock was a plaque, and on the plaque it said, "We couldn't go to church, so we became church." Now is the time for us to become church. We must hold each other in prayer. We must think of new ways of deepening our spiritual lives. The visit to the desert this Lent will be unlike any other Lent. And though we are confused, some are angry, some are grieving, together, let us walk with one another. Together, may this be the Lent of encounter. For it is in the desert that the great mystics encountered the Lord. It was next to the well that the woman encountered Christ, and her life was changed forever. She became a witness, a disciple of his love. May this Lent be rich with many encounters during this troubling and anxious times. May we find the Lord over and over again. May we take the time in solitude and in silence to hear his word and to experience his presence in ways we have not in the past. My prayers are with you. May all of us walk together this Lenten season aware that the grace and presence of Christ is never far away. He will never abandon us, but will only walk more closely during this time of anxiety and fear.